And in the city of Toronto now, we're getting some breaking news following the Greenbelt in Ontario and a controversy surrounding that. If you're watching us elsewhere, the Greenbelt is a massive swath of land outside of the Greater Toronto Area, a protected swath of land. It's huge. The Ford government recently greenlit the opening up of a slice of that, a small slice of it, for housing development. But a lot of questions over the awarding of some of those slices to developers. The Auditor General in Ontario came out with a scathing report recently talking about how the ties were too cozy between land developers and the Conservative government of Doug Ford. Now we're getting this, a new report by the Integrity Commissioner finding that the Provincial Housing Minister, Steve Clark, broke the Members' Integrity Act. Let's go to CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief, Siobhan Morris, who's standing by with more. Siobhan, walk us through what we know here on this.
Oh, there's a lot to dig through, Todd. This report's 166 pages, so we're just starting to get our way through it, but it really comes down to this. The ethics watchdog here says that Steve Clark, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, fell down in his responsibility as minister in three ways, really. First, that he misinterpreted a mandate letter from the Premier about looking at Greenbelt land to possibly designate for housing, just doing it really too quickly. And he says that led to a process that was almost reckless because of the speed at which it moved. Also, that he didn't properly supervise what was a rookie chief of staff. We know from an Auditor General's report 3 weeks ago that that chief of staff, who's since resigned, really spearheaded this project, took the lead on it, and did a lot of it outside of the supervision of Steve Clark, the minister, his boss. Also, the Integrity Commissioner finds that once that decision was made about which parcels of land should be removed or could be removed from the Greenbelt to be designated for development, that Steve Clark, the minister, didn't really challenge, didn't really interrogate those decisions, just brought them forward to a cabinet for a vote. So those are the three areas that the Integrity Commissioner says Steve Clark really should have done a better job, and as a result, broke ethics rules that are expected of elected members of provincial parliament.
All right, so we know the NDP, the opposition in Ontario, and the Liberals have called on Steve Clark to resign. This report by the Integrity Commissioner no doubt will put even more pressure on him to do that.
We are going to hear from the NDP leader in a matter of minutes, and I think you will hear those calls from opposition parties, and I think the public to some degree as well, get even louder to either have Steve Clark resign or have the Premier remove him as his housing minister. The Premier had expressed support for Steve Clark as recently as Friday. There was no indication then that he planned to make any change on that file. And Steve Clark was actually out making a housing announcement in far north Ontario earlier this morning. So we don't know yet. We have reached out to both the Premier and the Housing Minister's office to see if there will be any change in light of this. But I think now having another report from a watchdog, this time explicitly finding some wrongdoing on the ethics side from the minister, will just amplify those calls for a resignation or removal.
Siobhan Morris joining us from Toronto with this new report coming in, the Ethics Integrity Commissioner finding that the Housing Minister in Ontario broke the rules. Thank you, Siobhan. Appreciate this.